Hi, I'm Curtis. Welcome to the show. Today, I'm going to take you down memory lane. My tips on how to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. Also, a couple of omelets today, a frittata, which is the Italian omelet, and a Spanish omelet. Enjoy. Bon appetit. I'll tell them. Today, I want to go back to my basics. How I started in this business. And I think I owe a big thank you to Meryl Streep. Back in the 80s, when the incredible actor Meryl Streep was touting the ill effects of LR on fresh fruits and vegetables, on apples in particular, it dawned on me that this incredible human being had a platform because of who she was, because of the work she did. And, when she spoke, it's like that old saying, when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. Meryl Streep talks, folks listen. So it said, okay, Curtis Aikens, if you want to be an advocate for reading and for education, you've got to be somebody so people will listen to you. So, I set about making myself a quote unquote celebrity. So people would listen to me, and it worked. Doing television shows throughout the Southeast. And then I got a chance to work with ABC's home show down in Los Angeles. And what I would do in those days, because Joe Carcione had passed away, and there was a void in this business where people gave great tips, common sense tips on how to buy and how to store fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, of course, I'm no Joe Carcione. So I thought I've got to do a little something different. I had this natural affinity to putting together recipes. I could look at foods and put them together. So I said, okay, I'm going to build my name on how to buy, how to store the nutritional content, and then how to prepare these gorgeous fruits, vegetables, all these wonderful items, legumes and mushrooms, fungi, all those things. So, that started to catch on. So I thought today we'd do that. We'd talk about my 5 tips to buying fresh fruits and vegetables. The first one is to look at it. Make sure the produce looks good. Now, I've got bananas here, beautiful bananas, and they look good. So I inspect the tops, the bottoms, look all the way around. When buying bananas, what I want you to look for, there should not be any soft spots, okay? And the tips, they call these green tips. So that's the eyes, you look at them, right? Okay? The next thing is touch, which we just demonstrated. So I'm going to take a different produce item for each one of the tips, right? So let's say a potato. How should a potato feel? Okay. Again, the touch is nice and firm, right? All right. Also, and this is a term you hear me say a lot, it should be heavy for its size. Again, when things, it looks dense, right? However, if it's light, that means it has started to shrivel up, dry out. Okay. That's what I mean by should be heavy for its size. Oranges, all the citrus items, lemons, limes should be really heavy for the size they are, okay? So that's look at it, touch it, right? What's next? Smell it. Right, smell it. You go, what? Joe Carcione used to say, at the tip of your nose, Curtis, that's one of your best guides, right? If it don't smell peachy, it ain't gonna taste peachy. Now that's Curtis Aikens saying, not a Joe, okay? Now, so this beautiful pineapple, right? That smells like Hawaii right there. Aloha. Don't be afraid to smell produce when you're in the grocery stores, okay? Wow, I just love that smell of pineapple. And when we get to pineapples, I'll give you more tips on that, right? So look at it, touch it, smell it, right? The fourth one is buy what's in season. How do you know what's in season? A lot of times, once you walk into the grocery store in the produce section, the item that is most abundant, right? That's what's in season. Look for it. It's springtime, so asparagus is starting to jump up. Beautiful asparagus. Before all the onslaught of all the incredible refrigeration, springtime is when you got the asparagus. And then, of course, when we start bringing things in from the southern hemisphere, we get asparagus year round. Right now, oh my goodness, in my town in Northern California, there's incredible prices on asparagus. Now this is what, April 3rd? Yeah, April 3rd. Spring is here, right? Things have sprung up. The asparagus is absolutely gorgeous. Ooh, so that was 4 of them, right? Look at it, feel it, smell it, So we told you about fruits, how they smell, right? Now, when it comes to vegetables, okay, you smell and go, what is he sniffing? There should be a freshness about it. Now, these are things I want you to work on. When you go to the grocery store, put your nose in and work. If this thing was starting to pass its peak, vegetables give off a bit of a sour aroma, and you will know it, right? So those 4 tips, if you look at it, you touch it, asparagus is still firm, heavy for its size, right? You smell it. This smells like spring, nice and fresh. Brings on a ring, right? So those really work. And that feel is very, very important. So what's the 5th key? I call them my 5 keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Cinco? Yeah. Cinco de Mayo. Okay, the 5th tip is get to know your produce person. He or she or he, they can let you know what's good, what's bad, how long an item has been in the store. Okay? You feel me? Feel me. Get to know those produce people. When you go to your local all veggie type frittata, I've got some spinach, spinacho. I've got some beautiful cherry tomatoes, and I'm probably just going to slice in half. The key ingredient are the eggs. I'm using, well, I have 4 eggs out. However, I'll probably only use 3. Remember, you can change that. Also, a great thing when you're making frittatas, if you have made dishes that just call for egg yolk or egg white, right? You can freeze what you don't use. They'd be great in your frittata later on, okay? Now, we've got shiitake mushrooms. I've got some of the giant oyster, the plorota mushrooms. Onions, I've got scallions or green onions, and some yellow onion. I've had half an onion in the fridge, so I'm gonna dice that up and saute it on the bottom. Here's the whole onion. Salt and pepper, of course, and I'm gonna season with Italian season blend, some Italian herb mix there. And there's something I want to show you also. This right here, cilantro. Absolutely love cilantro, and I hope you'll incorporate it into more dishes, especially salads. Sometimes I'll just take and tear some cilantro leaves off and sprinkle them through a salad. Absolutely fabulous. Also, if you grow them and with spring upon us, I'm going to start to sprout those beautiful cilantro, and sometimes those flowers that come out. Great to add to a dish as well. I have my herb de Provence just to show you, because we're not making the classic French omelet, we're making the frittata, so we're going to use Italian spices. Okay, let's get to the kitchen or to the stovetop, and we're also going to finish it up in the toaster oven. Let's have fun with frittata. And I left 1 ingredient in the fridge, about a 1/4 cup of milk, and I'm using whole milk here. You can use skim milk or cream if you'd like to. And you can also add a little cheese. I might decide to add some cheese. So let's get started. Remember, safety first. A little paper towel under the cutting board to lock it in place. And I'm just going to dice up our onion and put it in one of our little containers, mise en place containers. And you don't have to necessarily dice. You can slice. You can any way you want the onions cut. Okay. Put those there. And we'll get them into our container here. Alrighty. Our spinach is washed in a container. Prep our mushrooms. That gorgeous giant or king oyster plorota mushroom. Just going to clip the bottom off, and I think I'll just cut them into the long strips. They might be too large for that small cast iron pan, so I think I'll do a little more surgery on these. Oh, those are gorgeous. Can't wait to taste this frittata. I love saying frittata. Okay. Now let's prep our shiitake. That texture is just beautiful, almost velvety-like. Just remove the stems. Now the stems are a bit woody, so I don't usually cook with the shiitake stems that often. However, if I'm going to make a veggie broth or you want to make a mushroom tea, the stems are great for that, okay? And they're not too big, so I'm not going to do too much chopping of our shiitake, maybe 1 or 2 slices. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. that was a little larger. There we go. The shiitake mushrooms have an incredible texture. Almost. Let's prep our cherry tomatoes next, and the large ones I think I might cut in quarters, like so. Now cherry tomatoes, most people think salads. I love cooking the cherry tomatoes. The flavor is just so intense in those beautiful cherry tomatoes, especially in the wintertime when the big ones are harder to get. Look at that. Look at the flavor in that. Makes you want to just pop it in your mouth and eat it right away. Now, yellow tomatoes, remember, whether they're the big ones or the cherry, the smaller yellow tomatoes, they have less acid in them, so they might be easier on your stomach. And I do love the flavor of the yellow and the orange tomatoes, whether they're cherries or the full-size tomatoes. Isn't that beautiful? That orange color. Remember, we eat with our eyes, our nose, and our taste buds. It looks good, smells good, tastes good, right? Also feel that touch on how things feel in your mouth, on your tongue. Okay, everything is just about prepped. Oh, green onions. Let's take and put the green. I'm going to chop these green onions. I'm simply going to remove the tail end. I'm going to use every bit of the onion, the scallion. I'm going to add those in with the spinach because I don't want to overcook them when I put them in our saute pan. Did I say saute pan? I mean our cast iron skillet. Now I want you to just turn those on the side so they don't fly off your cutting board on you, and just chop through them. They can be small or larger chunks, however you like your scallions cut. And if you turn that blade on the diagonal, they won't run off the cutting board. That happens a lot when I'm chopping carrots. Voila. Okay. So everything is looking good except for our cilantro. The last thing we need to prep. Remember, I'm going to put these right on top of here. And the same thing, I'm going to add the cilantro in at the very end. In fact, I may not even saute the cilantro. I may just throw it in when I put the eggs into our pan. So, shall we whip up some eggs? Well, no, check that. We're going to saute our veggies, put them aside, then get going. Make a frittata. I'm going to start by sauteing the onions first. Got that pan nice and hot. I'm going to add everything back to my little mise en place dishes after they are prepared. I want you to saute these onions, 3 to 4 minutes, just until they're translucent. Oh, look at that, it's starting to color up nicely. And it's okay if you see a little brown color in it. That means the sugar, the caramelization is starting to happen. We're going to take these off the burner right now and place them back into our little mise en place container. Mushrooms are next. And if you're wondering why I didn't just add the mushrooms on top of the onions, when shiitake mushrooms are cooking, they sometimes just kind of leach out a little bit of bitterness. So I want to keep those on their sides. Let that bitterness come out. A pat of butter, about a tablespoon. We'll add it to our mushrooms. I just love the smell of mushrooms cooking in the house. Oh, you see how that butter just made the color change? They soften up so quickly. A little creaminess to them. Olive oil is fabulous, but as Mama say, butter makes it better. Mushrooms are looking gorgeous there. Bring our container in. We're going to add those. The spinacho and the tomatoes are left, along with those green onions. So I'm going to add the spinach now. Let that cook down. I'm going to show you a little trick with spinach. We're going to add the tomatoes. Those beautiful sliced up tomatoes, pressed push that down. We're going to add a bit of oil. And I'm going to place a lid on top of this pan to help bring out that moisture in the spinach so that we don't burn on the bottom. When I look at spinach, I think about a show I did with LeVar Burton, the Geordi from, what was it, Star Trek, whatever the episodes, LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow. We had such a great time working with spinach. How you take a big old bunch of spinach and you cook it down to a little bit, take a little bit of rice and it blows up huge. It's like, it was such a fabulous show. And we also made apple pie on that one. How to Make an Apple Pie was the name of the episode. So if you get a chance to catch that episode of Reading Rainbow, please do so. So start to wilt down like that, all that beautiful liquid that's in there. And then I'm gonna break it up a little bit so everything cooks. I don't want to overcook it, just enough. I'm gonna turn the heat off. And now let's go get our eggs. While we whip up our eggs, let's add our onions. I'll let those cook a little bit more while we whip up these eggs. I'm also going to add those mushrooms. Just mix those around the pan because those are okay. And all the liquid, beautiful, bonito. Mix that in well. Let's do our eggs. And my milk is here. See if I can count in Italian. Nope, can't, so I won't. Uno, dos. We'll do el español, huh? I'll show you a trick too. If you get eggshell in your batter, like that little piece there, always take a little piece of eggshell and pull it out. That's the best way instead of putting your finger in. See how that comes right out? No eggshell in there. Add my milk. And let's whip it good, a little Devo. I'm going to add my Italian seasoning here. That'll spread it out through the dish, throughout the frittata. I want to get air in there. Also my salt and pepper. Salt, pepper, and you know I love that Himalayan salt. I'm going to lower this ever so slightly. Stir it up, little darling. Yes, I do love Bob Marley. No joke. Let's add the spinacho. And that cast iron is getting hot. So careful. Let's add our spinach. Pardon my reach. I'm going to break it up. Spinach along with those beautiful cherry tomatoes. Oh, the house smells so good. I brought the cilantro tops here. And I'm just trying to mix that. I want everything mixed as evenly as possible. Let's add our eggs. As much air as possible we want to get in there. And let that cook. Then I'm going to lower my temperature. Oh, look at that. I'm going to sprinkle my cilantro leaves on the top. If you wanted to add cheese or anything else, right now is the time to do that. I'll let it cook maybe 3-4 minutes. I found my handle. Let's move to the toaster oven. Got our toaster oven on, set to broil. Let's just slide the frittata in and give it a few minutes to finish up. Looking good. Let's take her out. Well, let the frittata rest for just a little bit. And now, of course, you could just slice it and serve it that way. I do love to flip the frittata. So I'm going to take a plate on top. And be careful with this part because this is hot. The handle is hot. And you can buy these nice little grips and holders for your cast iron skillet. However, they do warm up. So take it and flip it as quickly and safely as possible. And if everything goes well, it'll slip right out of the pan. Ooh, there we go. And I'm going to center it up. And I think I will garnish it with a bit of grated Parm cheese. Oh, look at that. The spinach, everything is gorgeous in there. I think Lisa's going to love this. She loves frittata, so let's have dinner. I think I'll serve it up with a little bit of, you can serve it with rice. Oh, look at the herb on the bottom there. Okay, bon appetit. Is done. Our frittata is ready to taste. So let's give it a whirl. Oh, wow. That's good. I'm glad I decided to use 3 eggs instead of 4. It just seemed to work out better in that pan. Frittata, I'm not going to say it's a quick dish. It is an easy dish. Just a few frittata. If you haven't had it, make one, okay? I think you'll enjoy it. Also, it's a great way to get the kids to have vegetables in the morning. You make that frittata a night ahead, have it for breakfast and lunch. It's a great, great food. Peace, spread love. And as always, if you like what we're doing, tell a friend or 3. I'm out. Frittata, the Italian omelet. Eggs, potatoes, onion are the keys to a Spanish omelet. Let's make one. Yellow potatoes have such a thin skin. I'm not going to peel those. I'm just going to slice them. And we're going to fry everything up. Isn't that beautiful flesh, that yellow potato skin there? Woo! A lot of areas you'll find them, you can find them as Yukon Gold or finished potatoes. You can even look for the fingerling potatoes. Those are gorgeous potatoes as well. Ooh, that's right there. That's the starch that causes it to stick to the blade. So be careful, kids, if you're using the knives. Mamas, keep an eye on them. Daddies, keep an eye on them. Aunts, uncles, whoever's doing the kitchen with doing the cooking with the little ones. We don't want anyone hurt in the kitchen. Now let's move to the stove top and fry these up. Okay, so we're adding some olive oil to our little saute pan, our little omelet. Let that olive oil get nice and hot. I'm going to move it around the pan. I'm going to coat that pan. Fry, saute, cook our onions and potatoes. I love that sound, that sizzle of saute. It makes, you see how the potatoes are starting to caramelize, all that brown there, that's that natural sugar coming out. We talk about caramelization a lot in cooking. Those are the natural sugars in your food items, be that vegetable, fruit. That starch turns into sugar. Yeah, I know a little bit about the chemistry of cooking. Okay, gonna add those potatoes. So let those cook till they get nice and soft. In fact, we could put a lid on top of that to help it cook from bottom and top. Potatoes are looking yummy, yummy, yummy. And they smell even better. Let them cook through. That was about maybe 10 minutes of cooking those. Let's beat our eggs. A little pepper. Salt. And about a tablespoon of milk. Oh, that's about 2 tablespoons, my bad. And let's do the Devo, whip it. Whip it good. You youngsters watching, Devo's a group from back in my day, okay? So, whip it. Whip it good. What year was Devo a hit, baby? The 80s? Ooh, the 1980s. All right, those are looking. Let's do a taste and texture taste. Oh yeah, taste and texture test, I should say. Oh, those are looking really good. I just love those thin-skinned potatoes. We'll add our eggs. Want to get as much air as possible in there. And just pour those right in. Look at that. Now, spread everything out. Make sure all of our ingredients, as the kids would say back in the day, my boys would say, the ingredients, Dad. Add the ingredients, Dad. What are the ingredients, Dad? Oh, I used to love taking them on cooking shows with me. Our omelet is starting to look good. Our Spanish omelet. There we go. Let's take and do the inversion. Make sure everything is loose. Just going to put a plate on top. Careful, I don't want you to burn yourself. Okay. And we'll flip that over. Look at that. And we'll slide it back in. We'll let that cook just long enough to firm it up. Home cooking. Now we're going to invert it back over so the pretty side we present to our family. That pan is nice and hot, so I'm going to turn this burner off. Plate goes on top. The big reveal. Voila. Ooh, our Spanish omelet. I enjoy sharing. Peace, spread love.